Everyone, welcome to another edition, actually the second special live edition of Treasure Tuesdays, where we are diving into week 2 of the Diamond Process. I have just published my first book, and I'm really excited to dive into the power of setting an intention. But specifically today, we're going to be going deep into one of my favorite parts of this particular chapter in the book, around setting your North Star intention. There's a big difference between setting your intention, which we all pretty much know, and I'll get into it a little bit about really what is intention and how does it work in our lives. There's a big difference between day-to-day intentions for little things like, to create a beautiful relationship or wealth or whatever the things that we want in our lives, and creating a North Star intention, which is a central feature in the life. If you want to live an unshakable life, really coming back to who you are when you fall off track, which we always do. It's part of life to fall off, to come back to the center. It's this beautiful dance of remembering who we are, remembering who we truly are, in the midst of the ever-changing ups and downs of our day-to-day life. So the North Star intention to me is the most important part of this chapter, and I'm excited to share it with you here. And I am loving getting your comments and feedback and emails and just really connecting with each of you and hearing how this book is impacting your life in a beneficial way, and it really warms my heart. It's why I created this book, and it's spreading in this beautiful way. So it is a sanctuary. That's why I created it. When you're going through a challenging time or simply want to up-level your life when you're feeling good, it's really the whole spectrum. So last week we dove into the diamond self, awakening the diamond self. It was actually 2 weeks ago. Skipped a week there. I have recovered, for those of you who follow my YouTube channel. Yeah, very powerful last week at the Leonard Jacobson retreat. Really powerful. Whole nother topic. So, but just wanted to let you know my back is amazing. I feel great. Had a nice clearing there. But 2 weeks ago, we dove into awakening the diamond self. And ultimately, that's the purpose of this whole book, is to come into the truth of who we are. The diamond self is an unbreakable state of consciousness. It's unshakable. The word diamond itself, the etymology, goes back to the word unbreakable. No matter what we go through in our lives, we have the ability to remember and see life from the perspective of the diamond self, which is eternal, infinite, unbreakable, unshakable. Regardless of what is going on in our lives, there is a sanctuary inside that is always available, and I am committed to inhabiting that place, that dimension more and more, and sharing with my fellow love tribe to come play and be in this liberating state as well. So again, it's an amazing journey. We get to blossom into this state of consciousness, and the whole purpose of this book is really about week 1, which is awakening the diamond self. The following 6 weeks is really to help us break through the inevitable obstacles or challenges, opportunities for growth that we face. And the reason the subtitle of this book is using everyday triggers to awaken the treasure within is because they're everyday problems, quote unquote problems. They're really opportunities. They're actually treasures in disguise. They are, the things that trigger us are pointing us in the direction of what is blocking the power, the true power that lives within us. So every time you get triggered, what if, rather than blaming, hating, resisting, resenting, shaming yourself, feeling like life is a problem, what if it were simply an adventure? What if it were like this glorious sport to build your wings and strengthen your true perspective and really see through clear, loving eyes and utilize everything as an opportunity for waking up to truth? And what does all of that mean? That sounds like kind of fluffy and out there. What does it really mean? Well, this week we're going to be going into intention, because it's really important to have a very clear North Star. Just like any sailor, imagine trying to get anywhere without an address, or a sailor trying to get to a foreign land without having some kind of map, some kind of navigation system, North Star, the star system, to help see, am I on track, am I off track, am I going, to my actual destination, or am I way off course? Our North Star intentions are going to help us with that. And then as we go through this journey, we're going to get deeper into next week, for example. It's one of my favorite weeks. We're going to be getting into using triggers as treasures. So really looking at what gets in the way and actually constructively moving through it and utilizing it to break through rather than break down. So I personally invite you now to acknowledge yourself for carving out this time for you, that you're loving yourself, you're creating some space in the middle of your life, which I imagine is filled with all kinds of things and people and to-dos. And as I said earlier, how the purpose of this book is to bring us into the dimension of the diamond self, or the state of being, the state of consciousness of pure presence, of freedom, of clarity, of truth. The core teaching in this book that is woven through the entire book, it's, by the way, beautifully illustrated, and there's, my favorite illustration is this teaching: stillness heals and illuminates natural energy. It's called Shine Time. So if you take one thing from everything I share with you in these live videos, please, please, please remember that this practice alone, what we're going to drop into briefly here, has the power in a very simple, direct way. It works gradually over time to align you with the truth of who you are, moment by moment, breath by breath, day by day. And that practice, again, is called Shine Time. And so we're going to just run through the 3 B's of Shine Time, which is to take a deep breath into your body. And if you don't have private space right now and you want to dive a little deeper here for this time we have together, just simply close your door. Just take a break. Take a you break. And just cutting out of any external, distractions, phone, technology, blah, blah, blah. And I invite you to just take a few breaths here. And as you exhale out, feel free to close your eyes. We're just going to take about 5, 6 breaths together. And again, inhaling the 3 B's. First B is breath. Inhale into the belly. Holding it, receiving your life force. And as you exhale out, making space, letting go, dropping any and all distractions, any static energy in the body, any concerns about the future or the past. Just breathing in to this beautiful, precious, abundant, amazing moment, miraculous moment. And as you exhale and inhale at your own pace, start to bring your awareness into your body. So that's the second B, breath, body. So when I say body, it's like we're migrating our attention from thinking to breathing, to really feeling, how is my body feeling right now? What's the quality of your breath? Is it shallow? Is it deep? Is it effortless? And as you breathe into the belly, ideally through the nose, and exhale out through the mouth, you can sigh it out, make space in the hips, the neck, relax the shoulders. For the next 2 breaths now, bringing your gaze, if your eyes are closed, to the brow center, which is the 3rd B. So we're inhaling the breath into the body, bringing our focal point with the eyes closed to the brow center. If that's uncomfortable, just imagine that you're looking at the tip of your nose. You can even gently open your eyes. And as you breathe here, Receiving your life force, really filling your cup with breath, with vitality, with love, with self-care, self-acknowledgement. And the reason we bring our gaze to the brow center, which is the third B, is that when the eyes are in a still point, particularly in this area, which is a whole topic in itself, we got into it a bit last week. When the eyes are still at that middle point, the left and right hemispheres of the brain come into balance. So the creative side and the still point, or the analytical side and the creative side, they come into this harmony and this balance. The masculine and the feminine, the expression and the contraction. And when your eyes are still, typically the brain will follow that stillness with time. And if it feels more comfortable, just a few more breaths here, if it feels more comfortable for you to have your eyes open, then simply bring your gaze to something really easy to look at, like these beautiful spring flowers. And just bring your attention to one point. And breath into the body, really bringing your awareness and your focus to your body. Your body relaxes, the cortisol levels, the stress hormone in the body drops significantly. There's tons of research on this. When you bring your awareness and your attention to your body, to take it a step further, you can even put your hands on your heart or anywhere in your body that feels vulnerable or kind of constricted. You can bring your own hands. The warmth of your hands softens the body, drops cortisol levels. When we're lost in thought, the body feels neglected. It's like, hello, what about me? So just checking in with this amazing thing called your body. And bringing your focal point to the brow center, your seat of intuition, higher knowing. Good. And one more deep inhalation, inhaling in. Holding the breath, receiving gently, as if you're just charging up your battery all the way to 100%. And on the exhale, washing away, letting go anything that doesn't serve you, falling away, like dead leaves falling from a tree. Good. And as you open your eyes, see if you can maintain that stillness inside, but also that connection to yourself, your connection to your body. Rather than being pulled by what you're seeing or anything in your environment, notice that even with your eyes open and even while you're engaging with other people, you have this secret wink inside with yourself, like I'm here, I'm with myself, I'm present, bringing that loving attention inward. Yay. Okay, so before I dive in here, I would love to invite you guys to start typing in any questions that you have about last week or 2 weeks ago, anything to do with this book, anything you've read, or any questions you may have for me around the Diamond Self, around anything I share, but particularly around what's going on in this book, and especially what we're diving into today. And where you can do that is hopefully you're on YouTube. That's where I'll be checking your comments. So if you go into the YouTube page and just below what you're seeing right now, this video, and just type in your questions or comments there, and I'll be reading them. And we're going to dive into the power of setting your North Star intention, and then as we move forward, I'll read your questions, answer them, and then we'll dive into creating our North Star intentions, which is the treasure tool that we actually get to create together today. Okay, great. So your I'll briefly talk about an intention because it's maybe you don't, I'll just talk about it. Let me take a swig of water. Oh, so good. So good. The little things, just giving gratitude for a glass of water really, we have clean water in our country, or wherever if you're watching this, you have clean water. We're blessed. So basically, intention is really powerful because as we first really home base, it's not a step, coming into the diamond self precedes everything and anything. It's ideally where we are as much of the time as possible, living in the present moment, connected to our breath, connected to our bodies, really seeing and engaging with life free of attachment, which is quite a task. It's simple to say, but not as simple to do. But really, it's this coming into the present moment and noticing where we get snagged out of our center. Where do we get snagged into drama, into magnetized, into draining energy, other people, things that really bring us down. And so by empowering Shine Time, or those 3 Bs, again and again, it's not something you do once. It's like washing your hands. You can do that, come into the breath, connect with your body, bring your gaze to the brow center, like for 2 minutes or even 30 seconds, several times a day, ideally every couple hours. And it's like washing your hands, but washing the spirit, coming back into the center, really connecting with yourself, reminding yourself that you know why you're here. And you're prioritizing that inner purpose, that true purpose that's unbreakable. Everything that we go through in life is temporary. Relationships, finances, homes, career, everything is temporary. It's always changing, at different levels of speed. And the one thing that never changes is that still point, that connection, the breath, being here in the moment with yourself and life. So it's really key to actually have a North Star intention that will help you to guide, help keep you on track with who you truly are. We're going to get into that. But generally, there's this concept of intention, which we've all heard about. And I remember when I first heard about intention, it was in my graduate program. And, we learned about setting an intention for everything. I mean, for your day, when you're going to a meeting, when you're looking for a parking spot, when you're going to sleep, when you're waking up, just being very deliberate in what you are choosing in your life. And it's powerful to check in with yourself and say, what's my intention for me before turning this on? What is my intention here? Why am I making this video for you? What's my intention? So it's really, the beauty is to check into why you are doing what you are doing. And the blessed Satguru Shankaracharya, who's a living master in Boulder, Colorado, has really helped me with this. He'd always say, why are you doing that? Why are you saying that? Why are you doing what you do? Check yourself. Is it ego-based? Is it heart-based? And that's the key. So really coming into the state of, if to lead with love, who am I and what is my heart here to create? So when I turn on this video, the ego may have all kinds of ideas of why I should make YouTube videos or why I should do this for, our beautiful community. My heart just loves to share. My heart loves you. My heart loves myself. My heart loves this community. My heart loves spreading wisdom that's super juicy and inspiring and up-leveling our world to truth and inspiration and ease, expansion, attunement, divine connection. The list goes on. And my heart, when my heart is leading the way, everything unfolds. When my ego is leading the way, that's when there's that just constant state of feeling like up and down, drama spinning around. So intention is a really powerful way to lovingly check yourself and discover what you want and why you want it. So, for example, before bed last night or every night, I set the intention. My intention is to sleep soundly in service to waking up in the morning refreshed, rejuvenated, and replenished with ease and grace. Then I let it go, I fall asleep, and I wake up, I've slept soundly, and it works. Intention is like plugging in an address into a navigation system, and then automatically, you don't need to know how you're going to get there, but Siri or whatever navigation system you use basically says turn left, turn right, go straight. So all you need to know is the what, and we're going to dive into that. And that's the beauty. A lot of times we get hung up on how. How am I going to get from A to Z? How am I going to get to what I want? How am I going to find out who I truly am? How am I going to blah, blah, blah? Attract the right partnership, have the right amount of money, the house, whatever it is on the surface level of life or on the deeper spiritual level of life. We don't need to know how. And that's actually what keeps us in our minds blocked. But what is very beneficial is to have razor sharp clarity and vision, heart-centered vision, to really start distinguishing between what is heart-based and what is ego-based. There's no judgment on the ego. We need our ego to function in the world. But how can the engine of our vision be heart-centered so that we're driving our lives in the direction of our highest possibility? There's a powerful quote by the Upanishads, which is an ancient yogic text, and it says, "You are what your deep driving desire is." You are what your deep driving desire is. As is your desire, so is your will. As is your will, so is your deed. As is your deed, so is your destiny. So fate is what we're given. Destiny is what we do with that fate. Fate is my hair color, the city I was born in, my parents, my body type. That's given to me. That's fate. I can't change the color of my eyes. My destiny and your destiny is something that we co-create. It's something that we are born to awaken into, and our desires, what we truly desire, and checking in with our desires and moving towards those heart-based desires especially, will allow our destinies to unfold in the fullest possible potential, in the highest possible outcome. So a lot of times on the spiritual path, we're told desire is a bad thing, like eliminate all desire. I have a different take on that. We are born to desire. These flowers were made colorful intentionally by Source, God, the loving intelligence, whatever you want to call it with a capital I, made this colorful so that bees and hummingbirds would attract to the flowers and pollinate so that life would expand and spread. And in the same ways, the things that we desire from the heart have the power to expand our world and evolve our world in the direction of the highest possible outcome, into pure, sheer abundance, which is what nature is. It's what life is. It's incredibly abundant. There is no repeat. There is no, everything is unique. There is no, there's no one else like you. There's no other flower that's exactly designed like this, with the same shape, same size, same petals. There is no replica of anything. Think about that. Powerful. So in sitting with that and realizing that, it's like your desire really leads you to being that unique expression that you're here to be. And in following that desire and using intention to continuously come back to and clarify your mind so you know that North Star, what do I keep coming back to when I fall? What do I keep driving myself towards, that driving desire that's pulling you forward? And what is the difference between ego-based desire and heart-based desire? And where do those two streams take me? So intention in general can be used every single day. I turn this on and the video, my intention is to embody the deepest level of presence available and to serve as a beneficial presence to anyone and everyone this reaches, right? So this or something better for the highest good. And just setting those daily intentions are awesome. And it's all in the book. I'm not going to get deep into that. There's so much, so many treasures in this book. And especially in the intention chapter, just endless. I share my favorite intentions I use daily, even to find the perfect parking spot. But for the purposes of this, we're going to dive into your North Star intention. What is driving your life? What is driving your life? Why are you here? Who are you? What is the purpose of your life? I remember being in the darkest time of my life, and I have a smile on my face now, but I did not have a smile on my face then. I was freaking miserable, weeping my eyes out, grieving years and years of being totally and utterly lost, living in a false persona, not knowing who I was, totally, shaken around by life. And in no way am I perfect now, by no means, people. But what I am saying is I just didn't know who I was back then. I had no idea. And I remember I left to the woods. I was grieving daily, and I was laying there going, what's the purpose of life? Like, I literally didn't, that's why I had to leave it all behind, because I was right on track, checking it all off the list. Go to school, go to college, check. Get a great job, check. Get married, just about to check that one off, when I froze and was like, holy shabeep, I got to figure out why I'm here, because my life is really good and I feel awful and I don't know why. Why am I here? And I just sat in silence, grieved, felt all my emotions, and I started to sit with a question: who am I and why am I here? Because none of it made sense. To check all those things off the list and do the life manual thing, that unspoken one, it just didn't resonate. And as I sat deeper and deeper and deeper and really started cracking open and letting my emotion flow and just being best friends with myself and connecting deep, deep, deep in, below at the core of all those emotions that my mind was telling me were just too much, crazy, blah, blah, blah. When I really got past all the thoughts and let myself feel into myself and get deep, deep, deep down to the core, in asking that question, who am I, all of who I was not was falling away, was just falling away. And I was just left with the question, who am I? I'm not that relationship, I'm not that job, I'm not the money, I'm not this body, then who the heck am I? And on one particular day, I was laying on the bluffs, on the cliffs in Mendocino, California, and I had grieved all day, and I had to be on stage. Believe it or not, during this time I was doing a show called Eurydice, which is a whole nother topic, but doing a show at night, and I had to get on stage and perform literally all night in every single scene each night. And I didn't have an ounce of energy because I was so drained. So I went outside, rejuvenated, replenished by being outside, and I asked myself the question, if this were my dying breath, which it felt like it was, what would be the purpose of my life? And what I came to was that it was more the question I was asking is, what would I regret if this were my dying breath about my life? What would I regret? What did I do wrong? What didn't I do? And what I came to was, I just really felt all the life force so drained out of me from that day. And I looked around and it was such a beautiful day. And I suddenly felt so sad that I had missed the point. I wasn't seeing the beauty that is everywhere all the time. I wasn't seeing the magic of life, even the contrast, even the traffic and the drama. Like, this is temporary. This is a gift. It's a miracle to be in this life, and I had missed it completely. And that's when I started to realize, wow, the purpose of my life is to actually be here, to actually be awake enough to appreciate, keyword, the birds flying by, the ocean, this body that's healthy, the fact that I get to go do a play, how fun on this beautiful stage with great people, these sorts of things. But instead I was so locked in what wasn't working my whole life, just locked in this drama. And so what I realized was the purpose of my life is to be present enough that I am here, that I am living my life's purpose, which is to be here and play. What? Play. Can you imagine that being our purpose? What if life was just to experience life free of judgment? To experience and let yourself be the full expression of who you are. So that became my North Star intention. I started to discover that when I'm present in the moment, I thrived. When I was locked in my story, I suffered. And that was the very simple distinction. So I invite you to start asking yourself the question, who are you? And what is the purpose of your life? And if you go all the way fast forward to the end of your life, last breath, hopefully many years from now, many healthy years from now, looking back, what would you regret? And what would you realize is actually asking to birth through you in this lifetime? So we're going to do a treasure tool together, but before we dive into that, I'm going to look at your questions and just remind you that you are amazing. And you are watching this video right now because there is something pulsing from within you that is infinite. It is connected to endless, and I mean endless abundance, and not just money. Money is like a drop in the bucket. I'm talking about the kind of abundance where you walk around in life so happy and grateful, and even on those days that you're grieving or feel awful, you're connected. There's a sense of purpose. That North Star intention guides you. For me, that North Star intention again and again and again, and believe me, I fall how often, how many times a day, and I come back. My intention is to embody the deepest level of presence available. As soon as I say those words, it brings me back. So we're going to craft your North Star intention, because it really is essential to have some kind of, singular vision, some singular focus, so that in the midst of all this duality and contrast and up and down, there's that singular focus that brings you to that state of clarity and confidence. The ultimate sense of confidence, which I didn't talk about last time, which I meant to, if you look at the words confident, the word confidence, the etymology comes from con fidel, with fidelity, with loyalty. Confidence, true confidence, comes from being loyal to yourself. Self-confidence is this sheer loyalty to yourself, regardless of how many people are tugging at you, pulling at you, whatever your mind is telling you is right and wrong. It's coming into this state of deep, 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 and it takes courage. Deep self-loyalty. Fidelity to yourself, to your purpose, to your truth, to why you're here, to choosing to discover. If you have no idea why you're here, awesome. That is a beautiful place to be. And keep asking the question, who am I? Why am I here? What's the purpose of my life? People often say, isn't it selfish to be self-loving, self-caring? And I think it's selfish not to be. I could never do the service I do in the world, a lot of which is entirely for free, if I didn't love myself and fill myself up, like over and over and over again, with just extraordinary care, and giving myself, time in nature, which is where I plug in and charge up. So I feel like it's selfish not to love yourself and really check in and know yourself well enough to know what your needs are and to ensure that you get those needs met. So just a little reminder that you are amazingly valuable and worthy, and your self-confidence it's like the flip of a switch. You have the power to slide into radical self-confidence, which will fuel your relationships, your career, everything. Just comes with self-love. Okay, Laura. Hi, Laura. Laura says, I have so many thoughts and ideas. I find it very hard to come up with one or even two or three intentions for my day or my life. Great. Yeah, this is honestly a very stressful part for me because I sometimes don't know what I want. Okay. I love your question. I love what you're sharing here. So for some reason this is coming in. Oftentimes people say, I don't know what I want. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. And on one hand, that's actually a great mantra, to let go of needing to figure everything out and to know everything and just come into the unknown. But on another level, it's a mechanism that many of us used as children to avoid asking for what we want because we weren't given what we really needed. So we talk ourselves out of even asking anymore. So we suddenly buy into, I don't know what I want, when we know very clearly what we want. There's an inner compass that's crystal clear. The clarity within you is endless, infinite, perfect, pure, but it doesn't come from here. So if you're trying to create an intention from here, it's very challenging because there's so many different facets and perspectives and outlooks. And they compete with each other and they're not aligned typically. But when you come into the heart, that's where that singular focus comes from. That's where that singular intention, that North Star, is birthed from. So that's where step one, which isn't a step, it's home base, week one, the diamond self, is so important. One very wise being, he emailed me recently and said, I just started the book over. He had gotten to page 50 or 60. He said, I really want to grasp the diamond self first. And I was like, hallelujah, you're awesome. Exactly. Like just to stay with the diamond self as long as necessary to just come into the state of consciousness that's beyond thinking, that's deeply connected to the breath, that's in the present moment, because typically from there, you'll start to feel into, wow, what I really want is, and your heart will literally, that driving desire, like the Upanishads, the ancient yogic text talks about, will drive you towards something, and it's spontaneous. It's just like poof, like it suddenly like, whoo, it's like an email drops into an inbox. You didn't do it, someone emailed you. It's likely coming from your higher self. So that's just one thing that's coming up. But the easiest way to craft your intention is, like, if I were to ask you, what is one quality that you'd like to feel in your life, that would really, that you just yearn to feel, you know, whether it's peace or freedom or love, inspiration, confidence. And what is just, I know you said you have about 3, and you might even be able to weave the others in there, but just to create a statement. And if you want to share the 3, but basically 3 qualities, you could weave them into one. But to choose one of those, and so let me give you an example. My intention, let's say I have 3 core qualities. So the key is to have a quality and then wrap some inspiring words around that quality. That becomes your intention. So if my intention, and let's say I have 3 qualities: authenticity, presence, service, then I could say presence is number 1 for me, because when I'm present, all else flows from there. My mind is out of the picture, and then I have that, my true self is guiding me. So my intent, I could say something like, my intention is to embody presence in service to leading my life authentically and being of service in the world. Could be something like that. So you don't have to axe the other 2 qualities, but maybe choose one core one and then use the other 2 in your statement. And we'll get a little further into that shortly with the treasure tool. Let me know if that answers your question, Laura. And let's see, Tello, hello. Oh, you're welcome, Tello. So much love to you and much peace. And okay, Laura asks, how can I tell the difference between an ego desire and a heart-based desire? You have good questions, really good. So the difference between ego desire and heart-based desire is less logical, it's more sensory. So the ego, this is interesting because we'll get into this in the treasure tool, the ego may want, and actually what your ego wants right now is going to be a doorway into the deeper need, the deeper desire, the deeper intention. But typically what the ego wants is to fit in, to be safe, to have a sense of belonging, even if it means not being authentic, even if it means, you know, straying from one's truth, it doesn't matter. The ego is built upon a social hallucination. It's built upon fitting in. The heart is based on truth. And when I say truth, first of all, the heart is a really interesting organ of the body. The heart was, you know, birthed first, and basically the body actually physically builds around the heart. But the heart is, when we're born, we don't have an ego yet, or a mind. It's not functioning. We can't distinguish. We don't know time. We don't know past. We don't know future. All we know is now. We only know that I'm hungry. That's a natural instinct, a desire. I ask, I want food. I cry and I receive the food, hopefully, if all things are going well in that baby's world. The heart desire is connected to inspiration. It's connected to spirit. The word inspiration and the word breath are the same in most languages. They don't have 2 separate words. So a really easy way, you may have just noticed, I started to breathe with your question because I didn't want to answer from here. So to connect to the heart or the spirit, it's really coming into shine time, coming into the breath, navigating outside of the analytical part of the brain and starting to listen deeply from intuition, from non-duality, from a space of presence with a body. It's the easiest way to drop out of thinking and come into presence, is to breathe and come into the body. There's deeper reasons why that shine time practice is woven into this book so many times, and it's because of questions like yours. I can come up with all kinds of answers, but on some level I'll be giving you those answers from here. It's more so about a feeling tone. You feel, it feels right, and it's pure. It's purity of intention is essential, and typically the heart has pure intentions. The ego doesn't care often if other people suffer, if you or I or whoever does well. The ego is all about separation. The heart is about how can I, what I want is actually of service to the whole. And so it's really about purity of intention. I feel like speaking to this right now too. Oftentimes people say they have challenge being themselves in the world, being authentic, because sometimes people get triggered by them. And the beauty is when you know you're coming from purity of intention, meaning my intention is to spread love, my intention is to give back, my intention is to be healthy so that I can serve from a healthy whole place. So looking at purity of intention, the opposite of that, the ego-based intention would be my intention is to have everything financially, even if it means robbing everyone around me. My intent, it would be separation. It doesn't include the greater good. The heart is pure in that it includes the whole and realizes that what we do to others, we do to ourselves. What we do to ourselves, we do to others. So it's really important to ask yourself and come to your own definition of what is purity to me? What is purity of intention? And just notice when the mind is like, I don't care, I just have to have this, even if I don't care what happens to that person or that person, I have to have this. Then that's typically ego-based. So to feel confident in what you do in the world, it's really nice to go, wow, that person can get triggered, but let me check myself. Was I coming from purity or was I coming from greed or ego or whatever? And when you know you came from purity, it's like, ooh, that person got triggered and it was not my intention. So that helps to keep moving forward anyway. Sabrina says, I enjoyed the last live Treasure Tuesday. Thank you. You're so welcome. And I really gave more attention to creating rituals. Awesome. Giving more space and time to feel my feelings and being present with my body. Beautiful. Last time I shared my situation with my husband, many emotions and old repressed memories of traumas came up and our fights continued to grow. Yesterday, I actually exploded like never before in my life, screaming my heart out to him and feeling it in my body straight away. I wondered about signs to know when it's better to break up rather than staying together in order to stop suffocating patterns and getting stuck with each other. I realize now that I created certain patterns throughout my life that block my creative to flow 100%, and that this is happening again within my current marriage. Beautiful realization. Being in this relationship has certainly brought up a lot of these realizations and taught me some lessons, exactly, triggers as treasures, right? But how do I know when it is time to move on my own? I want to face it, embrace it, not run away or get stuck either. I'm confused and shocked, but no matter what, I put a clear intention to be authentic with myself and unfold my whole creative. I am confused and shocked, but no matter what, I put a clear intention to be authentic with myself and unfold my whole creative potential. Powerful, great intention. Thank you so much. Lots of love to you. Beautiful. Okay, so your question is really, how do I know when it's time to move on my own? Okay. So what I hear from what you've shared, and it's, from what you've written, is that a lot is moving through you. You're allowing your emotions to express now, but they lashed out on your husband, and that you don't want that to happen, but that's what unfolded. So, of course, being perfect in a relationship is not the goal, and it's not always possible. It would be great. But, it sounds like this came up. There was this explosive experience. And so to be gentle on yourself, and I don't know if you did this already, but to just, let your husband know that you're doing your very best and you're courageously facing what's coming up within you. And being that maybe he's part of the trigger, you're learning how to navigate that so that you're not dumping the energy on him, but finding a way to constructively express your emotions authentically, like you're saying, without involving him in it, yet intending for the greatest possibility in your relationship, or if you choose to be on your own. Your question is, how do you know if you want to be on your own? And the truth is, whether you're in a relationship or not, you are on your own. Okay? Whether you're in a relationship or not, whether you have a family, whether you have friends, whether you have tons of people around you, the truth is, on some level, we are all born alone and we all die alone. And there is a radical need in our culture and each of our lives to come into a deep, profound relationship with ourselves, so that we can love ourselves and really allow ourselves to have these feelings come up in a constructive way. Sometimes that entails getting support, getting help, having somebody hold space for you who is not going to judge you, who is able to fully hold space, who is not involved in the story at all. Other times it's, one of my favorite things is to have a sacred space in your home, a place that's just for you. Or if you don't have a private room, just ask for certain times of the day to be able to have that space to yourself, to let yourself feel everything that's coming up. And actually everything you share is what we're going to be working on next week through a powerful practice. And as far as answering the question of how do you know if you should be on your own, I think what you're referring to is to leave the marriage or not. I can't answer that question for you, but what I can say is that if you utilize the relationship that you're currently in to really look at yourself with love and kindness, and this isn't about changing your husband or fixing him. This is about utilizing all the pain and the challenges and the triggers and the repressed emotions that are coming up, that are likely being triggered because of the friction of being in relationship and whatever mirror he's holding up to you, to use it. Like, this is the exciting, I'm not saying it's easy, and I have great compassion for where you are, but this is a blessing, which you'll likely be able to see down the line. So you can use it now rather than fight or flight. How can you come into flow? And we're going to get into that deeply next week. So just one tip is, when you feel a lot of this energy coming up, to give yourself the space to let yourself feel what you feel, and ask your husband, just share with him for your consideration. You can say, look, I'm very triggered right now. Part of me wants to blame you, and I know it's not your fault. This is just what's coming up in me, and I really need space for myself to feel this, to express through this, to discover what's really going on, and to heal. So, just ask for forgiveness, ask for space, and give. And then as far as the intention goes, I love your intention. And you may consider bringing into your intention that the highest possibility unfolds for you and your husband with ease and grace, that you are able to move from a space of love, that you are able to see through the eyes of love, and that the support that is necessary to really hold you during this time of transformation come in with ease and grace. So, yeah, I hope that answers your question. And next week is precisely designed for you. So, week 3 of this book is all about, basically migrating from fight or flight to flow, and getting in touch with your soul's curriculum, which is likely bubbling up right now in your relationship. And it's why you're here, which is very cool. It's, why you're here. Yay, Natalie. And when I say here, I don't mean this webinar, I mean on the planet, to evolve, to grow, to liberate the soul from any limitations, and to come into full potential. So the last thing I'll say is I'm sending you a whole lot of love, and just be gentle on yourself, and compassionate and loving, and be as self-nurturing as you can right now. And communicate as easily as you can when you're not triggered with your husband. Just let him know, honey, sometimes I'm going through a lot right now, and my intention is ... to reach the highest possibility for us, but I need to heal whatever I'm healing right now, in your words. Let me know if that resonates for you. And Natalie, what do you do when your ego tries to talk you out of your North Star intention? In my personal experience, quote unquote, enlightened animal paintings Oh, enlightened animal paintings, making a living off of that? You are insane. Are you insane? Right. Okay. So what I hear you saying is that your North Star intention is to, well, this would be more of an intention to create these enlightened animal paintings, which you create absolutely gorgeous paintings, and the ego is kicking in and going, how are we going to make a living off of this? So why do you, so now we're getting into the treasure tool a bit, and everyone can tune into this. Ask yourself, first of all, like Natalie knows that she wants to, and she is, creating this, has this business of creating enlightened animal paintings. They're absolutely beautiful. So whatever it is in your life, everyone who's watching this, what is it that you want? What is that deep driving desire in your life? What is that thing that you deeply, deeply want? Okay? And then Natalie and everyone else, once you clarify what you want, so Natalie knows she wants to thrive in this enlightened animal painting business. Why do you want that? So then the next question would be why? Why do I want, so let's say right now your business is thriving. You're absolutely making a living off of this business. You have plenty of money in the bank account. People are loving your paintings. You're loving creating them. The whole business is just perfect, right? It's just running perfectly, and your inspiration is just like engineering your life. Inspiration is engineering your life. What's different now? As you tune in and really feel into that, and everyone else feel into your specific thing. So for me in the past, I remember it was similar. It was like when I came back into the world, it was like, how am I going to make a living? It was that same thing. And what I got to underneath needing to make more money, what was underneath it was I just want freedom. It wasn't the money. Money's paper. It has no value. The value was freedom. The value was, wow, I could go to the spa whenever I want. I could go hang out in nature. I could have free time. I could relax. I wanted to feel pampered and healthy and loved and nurtured, rather than constantly spinning my wheels trying to figure out how I was going to do what I was doing. So once I realized that freedom was what I really wanted, then that became part of the North Star intention, which is really, to me, presence. Being present is the doorway to freedom. So get clear the opportunities to ask yourself, why? Why do I want what I want? And so, like what Laura was asking before, the difference here between an ego desire and a heart-based desire is, one could say, like having more money, that's definitely ego-based. Maybe, but what if you look deeper and say, having more money is actually going to let you serve more. It's going to let your cup be full. It's going to allow you to feel great and free and whole and pampered and healthy. So it's really getting deeper below the surface need, the ego need to feel safe, to have enough money, to have sufficiency and all of that, all the way down to below that. What's below? There's a quality. So yeah, so Natalie, feel free to write in what that quality is for you. If you have this business thriving right now, what's different in your life? What do you feel? What's the feeling tone in your life? You're welcome, Laura. All right, Neyram Nisei, and we're going to go a little further with that. I'm just going to answer a few more questions here because we're going to dive into that a little more, Natalie, with the treasure tool. So Neyram Nisei says, hey, Veronica, I'm 23 years old and I've seen that many of my intentions are to make my parents happy and proud of me. Oh, sister, you're 23, or brother, I'm not sure. And if this is a huge revelation, like I'm glad you're bringing this up. And they conflict with my desires to overcome the limitation of my tradition, religion. This is challenging because I'm living with my parents. Oh my goodness. And 9 siblings. Thank you very much for sharing your wisdom. Thank you for sharing this question. The situation you're in is not easy. And I really, really honor you for being able to distinguish the difference between your parents and your tradition and their needs and your own desires, your own truth, this beautiful, unique expression of life that you are, that's bubbling up to the surface, and yet you're living under the roof of people who you love and have very clear needs or a vision for you. But what's your vision? And if those visions compete, I know the challenge that that can bring up, especially when you're living at home. So I really honor you for being 23, having this awareness, very, very powerful. This is like you're tapping into a cultural, a collective thing here, because on one level, the the animal brain or the critter brain, there's, the reptilian brain, we have, the human brain, we have the animal brain, and parts of us can compete with each other because on one hand, this kind of animal brain just wants to fit into the tribe, wants to fit into the culture. Well, that's literally, when you track all the way back in the lineage of just, being Neanderthals or animals, we had to, or even babies in this lifetime, we had to fit in order to be fed and to be safe. We had to be a certain way in order to survive. The interesting thing is now you're 23. And now a lot of those rules don't necessarily apply. You are your own person. You have a connection to a infinite power within you. You are able to create the life that you choose. And yet you are 23, and this is the decade where it's really about unraveling and unwinding and discovering who you are so that you can go off and be yourself in the world. So there's a fine line here, because on one hand, this human brain, or this, larger perspective, is really pulling you forward towards a North Star, which is unique to you. And this need to be safe and fit in with the tribe is pulling you in another direction. So the opportunity, regardless of what your family wants for you right now, is to first get really clear, crystal clear, on who you are, what you want, and what's driving you forward in your life. And, this changes over time, typically. As we evolve, our perspective evolves, and we grow and we discover. But you're living under their roof, so it's their rules, right? And it's first and foremost connecting with yourself and getting a very clear picture of who you are. And then working through and allowing yourself, maybe communicating with the easiest person in your family, to let them know, what it is that you're discovering about yourself, and to start to communicate authentically with those you can, a friend, or maybe there's someone in your family who completely gets who you are and your unique path. But the key is to first build a foundation before leaping out of the nest, so to speak. Build a foundation for yourself, a very self-loving foundation, week one, the diamond self, and continuously reflect and come back to what your unique needs are, and especially strengthen your power of presence, strengthen your ability to breathe, to connect to your body. And as we go through this journey, there's going to be more, because we're going to be working through belief systems, cultural beliefs, all the beliefs that other people have imposed on us. It's going to be coming up in week 5. But for now, I would really say to start with building that very solid relationship with yourself, to be very gentle on yourself, and know that your family loves you, and they want what's best for you from their perspective, from their lens. And I celebrate the part in you that's waking up to who you truly are and what you really want, because you deserve to live your life as freely and fully as possible. And this is a journey, and it happens over time. So without jumping ahead too far, let's just start with the diamond self. Really, if you have a space in your home, I talk about this in week 1 of the Diamond Process book, to create a space of love, a space that you can return to again and again, your sacred space, so that you can express your feelings, cry if you need to, write in a journal, light a candle, pray, set your intentions. And right now, what intention would most serve you now? So what quality do you most want, given the contrast that you're in? Living with my family, they want one thing, I want another, there's friction, I imagine. What quality is bubbling up? What do you want to embody? If it's authenticity, what would authenticity feel like for you? Why do you want to embody more authenticity? Is it freedom? Is it wholeness, what is that? And just start to craft your intention, and we'll get to that in a moment together. And then we'll move into the deeper work next week. I want to dive into the deeper work because it's what I love the most. Aside from presence, it's just like so fun to unravel and let go of the rubble, so to speak. So thank you for your question. And yeah, deepen in self-love, presence, and start with that strong foundation of self-care and self-friendship, inner marriage. And from there, set an intention, and then we'll go deeper. I imagine many people can relate to what you just wrote in, so thank you. Okay. And Tello writes, I get a feeling in my chest area when I envision my intentions. My intentions, as of now, are to be present in my breath, to acknowledge my thoughts and feelings and be present with them also, but to let it pass. Beautiful, beautiful. I feel as though a veil has been lifted over my eyes since loving and not judging others or myself. However, I find I have been lonely after a breakup of 4 years with somebody I had met soon after moving to Canada. I am now living alone and going to university. I don't know how many people that I can connect with, but I've been trying to embrace the loneliness, and with some difficulties, I admit. But it has been the best experience of my life to discover myself, my intentions, to read and dance and kayak, and to just be in love with all that is. So beautifully said. And yes, that I imagine you've seen, or if you haven't, there's a video I have on YouTube pretty recently called How to Transform Loneliness. And ultimately, solitude is the remedy for loneliness, which is kind of ironic. To come into, and obviously having support and connection and friends and connecting here, having supportive tribe is really important as well. But it is a bittersweet time. There's something about the journey of awakening that's very bittersweet, discovering who you really are and realizing that you're never alone. And all the things that tell you that you are alone, or that, life is hard, or it's an unsafe place, or it's, whatever the dramatic thoughts can be, those can be arising and coming to the surface. All the while, this beautiful connection, as you describe, is opening up, of kayaking and dancing and having this beautiful self-expression. It's poetic, it's beautiful, it's kind of an epic period of time that you're in right now. So I would say relish in it, enjoy it, and be gentle on yourself, and just know that this journey is gradual, and we're going to dive into the more constructive pieces next week in terms of transforming, using triggers as treasures. Beautiful, Laura. Purpose, authenticity, and presence are my 3. I love it. That's so beautiful. Okay, so Ingela, hi Ingela. The ego is using the voice me, and the heart says we, or everything. I love the distinction. Thank you. Well said. Let me just refresh the page here, make sure I didn't miss any comments, and we're just going to take a few more minutes to dive deep into the treasure tool. Okay. And then we have Natalie says, I feel like I can take as much time creating the paintings without having to hurry or worry about the next client, shipping, etc. I love what I do, and I want to spend all my time creating, not having to divide myself into doing several jobs. I deeply know that this is coming, but then the ego steps in and criticizes my paintings, puts its value down, and then I struggle with keeping the North Star intention up. I know how happy and deeply emotionally connected my clients are to my art, but the ego simply denies that fact and tries to talk me into an illusion. With all the money in the bank, a little great break would not freak me out as much. As you said, I would be safe. Really beautiful. And sometimes, not sometimes, but often, I can't tell you how often in my own life, I work for a consulting firm on the side as well, about 20 hours a week, and it gives me such a lightness in my being. I mean, I love working for them, and I'm using my own purpose and inspiration there as well. But oftentimes in the past, I was just doing my own business, and it was really intense to be an entrepreneur, building my business, and a lot of times having a side job just allows business, creating your art or whatever it is that you do in the world, to actually be way easier and graceful. So you could also set an intention to align with a job, a side job that actually supports your work, that actually infuses what you're currently doing with momentum and inspiration, and allows you to relax. There is no right or wrong way. Oftentimes entrepreneurs are like, I have to be completely self-sufficient just doing what I love to do. But what if what you love to do could also be translated into a part-time job with amazing people? And I promise you it's possible, because I'm experiencing it and have been for the last year and a half. I look back, I'm like, oh my God, this is so much better, to work with these amazing people and consult for them. So I'm putting that out there to any entrepreneurs. Oftentimes we can get locked in an idea of how it should look, and it helps the ego to soften and relax, because those beliefs, Natalie, are probably coming up from the ego, like your art is terrible, just to trigger you so that maybe it'll force you into whatever. To find that side job or whatever the ego is driving at. So the question is, can you set an intention that will create create a reality for yourself that supports your painting, supports your artistry, and is actually way better than what you can imagine right now. Okay. Yes. Tara, yay. I love seeing your names and your faces, your pictures. Sending you love, sister. Sister Nayram, thank you for that. Okay, great. So we're going to move into the treasure tool. So we already went into it a little bit, but basically, if you could just take your biggest challenge right now in your life, you may want to just grab a sheet of paper and a pen and just look at what is the most challenging to you right now. And what is it that you most want? And if you had that very thing that you most desire, that driving desire, for some of you it might be to have a sacred partnership. For others, it might be enlightenment. For others, it might be having the perfect, prosperous job. For others, it might be having a healthy body. And as you write that at the top of the page, just ask yourself and imagine that you're already living that right now. And just take a few deep breaths with me and just really drop everything that we've talked about so far. Just literally let go of all the questions, all the answers, all the explorations we just dove into. This is how you do the shine time. It's just coming into the present moment. It's so simple. Taking a deep breath into the belly. Into the heart as you inhale and exhale. And just letting your eyes fall soft on the brow center. And if you choose to keep your eyes open, just keeping your eyes soft, focused on one flower. And again, the breath, the body awareness, and the brow center, just bringing you into that still point. This is how we charge up our batteries, refresh. 2 more deep breaths, inhaling in, sighing it out. 1 more, inhaling deeply into the body, spreading the toes, relaxing the shoulders, softening the hips, opening the chest. And you can just, if your pen ideally is dropped, just I'll ask you these questions as you're tuned in. What is it that you most want right now in your life? So we're just building our North Star intention together right now. What is it that you most want? And it's okay if it seems ego-driven or it doesn't matter. Don't even worry about distinguishing that right now. What is it that you most want? So Natalie said, I most want my business, my conscious paintings, animal paintings, to support me fully, to thrive financially, doing what I love, being of service in that way. So if each of us could just imagine now, whatever that's specific, get specific if you can. And if you have a few things you would like, just choose one for the purposes of this exploration. There's no agenda, we're just exploring. It's like an adventure. And just imagine that you have that thing right now. For me personally, it would be having a retreat house. What would be different in your life if you had that thing that your heart just like bubbles with to have? And as you imagine that you already have that thing, what's different? What do you feel? What quality do you have embodied now that this is checked off the list, that you have this thing? And so whether it's freedom or radiant health or inspiration or confidence, empowerment, truth, love, purpose, clarity, what is something that you would be enjoying in your life now, having this very thing? So like Natalie was saying, she would be leisurely painting her paintings. She would just be enjoying the process, not worrying about anything else, and just sending everything off to shipping the paintings out with ease and grace, and being present through that process as well, because there's no pressure. So there are some clues right there. So for you, what are the things, how would you act differently in your life if this were a reality for you right now? Okay, now once you clarify that, we're going to step into vibing with our vision. So you don't need to know how to get there to that North Star. But now you've clarified the quality of being that you really want beneath the thing that you think you want, or that you do want, but the quality of being that you want. And you also have a picture of the actions in your life, or the way your life would look, like how it would be different if this reality were actualized. So in terms of when you write your North Star intention, which you can do right now if you feel like it, just write down that one core quality on the page. If it's freedom, great. Authenticity, love, peace, self-worth, abundance, empowerment. And now create a statement starting with my intention is. It's very powerful to say that, or to say I choose. My intention is, or you could start with I choose. This is you actively co-creating with a higher intelligence, like plugging something, an address into a navigation system. You don't need to know how to get there. That's why you're doing this. That's why you put the address into the navigation system. There's another organizing intelligence that knows exactly how to get there, the fastest way to get there. All you need to know is where. What's the point of destination? All right, my point of destination is freedom, let's say. So all I need to know is the what. And then from your intentional statement, you're very clearly saying, I choose, or my intention is. It's communication, very powerful. Articulating what you want is powerful. So my intention is to embody freedom in my everyday life with ease and grace. Could be that simple. So you just start with, my intention is to embody whatever the quality is, or to master, or to express this quality. So you can put it in your own words. But my intention is, and then have your quality in there, some kind of action word in the present tense. So with ing in there is great. So actually even better than my intention is to embody is, my intention is to be embodying, or I am embodying freedom in my everyday life with ease and grace, regardless of outer circumstances. So just creating your sentence with energizing language. So ideally, I am, or I choose, or my intention is, and an ing verb. So it's in the present moment. It's not one day I will, or in the past I was. It's now. I am experiencing. I am embodying whatever the quality is with ease and grace, or authenticity, or whatever your unique qualities are. Confidence, inspiration, gratitude. Good one. Gratitude is a superpower for sure. And once you have that statement, and you can take your time after this video, is to craft that statement and know that you can always change it. You're just exploring it. And as you edit it and clean it up and just add different words and explore different ones, and I'll give you a few more examples, you'll start articulating it outside, and notice, you'll feel in your body, in your heart space, somewhere in your body, it will feel good to say out loud. If it's too much of a leap, the mind will likely kick in and be like, that does not feel sincere, that feels like a wish. We don't want it to feel like a wish. It's more so, it's like first of all, you already are the very thing that you desire, which is the irony. It's just clearing away whatever's in the way of that alignment. So when you create a statement that's exactly the truth inside, it will feel right. It'll just like click. You'll click into place. So for me, or I'll give you some other ones, I've shared that one. My intention is to, I really like starting with I am, to be honest. I am experiencing tremendous gratitude in my heart for the ability to share love and wisdom in the world. I am feeling deep peace in my relationships while honoring who I am. I am at peace within myself, regardless of what others expect of me. I am honoring who I truly am and moving from a place of empowerment with kindness, ease, and grace. I am remembering who I truly am, and it feels fantastic. I am gradually, every day, more and more becoming a more authentic, liberated expression of who I came here to be. I am serving from a place of overflow with ease and grace. I mean, you can just write tons of them if you want, but there will be one that is a North Star intention. And again, it's that singular focus that keeps you, that pulls you back to the dimension of you that is beyond your story. The dimension of you that is connected to the breath, present in your body, allowing of your emotions, allowing of the good, quote unquote, and the bad. There is no good or bad. The allowing of the contrast. So some qualities from that place are compassion, freedom, love, inspiration, authenticity, gratitude, oneness, peace, wholeness. And then once you create that statement, say it out loud, find it. It'll take you however long it will take you. Then we're going to just look at what are those actions that you discovered that you would be living and breathing in your daily life if that reality were actualized now. So if your business were thriving, or you were living on your own outside of your parents' home and just thriving, and you have more than enough, and you're authentic and you're living your true path, and what is different in your life? And identify, it might be, oh, I am enjoying time alone, or I am surrounded by people who really get me, or I am getting massages, or I'm out in nature, or I'm in a job that I love. I am feeling really confident when I'm around people. I find myself in a state of gratitude at telling people what's really working in my life rather than, complaining about what doesn't work. So once you identify those things that are different in your life, once that thing is actualized, the treasure tool, the core of this treasure tool, is to vibe with your vision. So this is literally what creates a magnetizing force in your life. Once you discover, why do I want this thing? And it's coming from a pure place. I want this thing because I choose to be free. I'm here to be free. From an authentic, free state of being, I can serve, I can be in a state of love, I can migrate from being conflicted to being at peace and present. That's certainly a pure reason behind a desire. So you can now choose to vibrate with that vision by bringing in at least one of these actions into your life now, even though it's not actualized yet. By you embodying this one step closer, you begin magnetizing it in. So for example, when I was in that financial had left my whole life behind, had no idea how I was going to leap into my own business and everything, starting from scratch all over again, I felt trapped. I wanted to feel free. I was working like 3 jobs. It was a crazy time on top of my own business. So what I did was I realized being free to me was being able to go get massages, and it was being able to go out in nature and just lay on the ground and just leisurely stare at the trees and the clouds and just laugh and giggle, like have my journal, talk to the trees, whatever, hug trees. Yes, talking to the trees is actually a good thing. It can be. So just self-expression, really fessing up and rising up, liberating the BS, the belief systems. And what I discovered is I didn't have the money at the time to go to the spa, but what I did have was the ability to take some things off my plate and go spend some time, invest some time in nature, which I did. So I started to honor myself and create that self-nurturing practice that began to magnetize gradually that truth and that life to me, which if you take care of yourself in the way that you need to, that which is aligned attracts to you. It is, just to explore, just check it out. I'm sure you already know that and experience it in your life, but especially being in a state of gratitude, for example, it's powerful. Starting the day with gratitude, ending the day with gratitude, just 3 things or 1 thing, and go deep with it. Why am I grateful for that person or that job or that thing? Boom, boom, boom. Because this, and you'll notice your energy raise. So this is just about raising the frequency by bringing actions into your life so that you can vibrate with your vision. And then once you have that North Star intention, which you just created, I suggest writing it down, putting it up on your wall, and returning to it again and again, and say it out loud. Tune into it, feel into it. And if it needs to be edited or changed, you can do that as time goes on. So if you don't feel connected to what you've written or what you've created, your North Star intention, just know my current North Star intention is completely different from what it used to be, and it hasn't changed in years, but for years it was changing. So this is a time of exploration if you feel that way, and just discover what works and what doesn't. And that is pretty much it. Oh, hello, Pete. Sending you many blessings. Great to see you here. And all right, my friends. that's pretty much it. And obviously, there's only so much I can cover in this video. I give as much as I can here. And in the book, it's a 7-week adventure. You basically go on a journey guided through this whole process. And I forgot to mention on the last one that you can find the Diamond Process on Amazon. And it's the Diamond Process using everyday triggers to awaken the treasure within. Thank you all for your beautiful pictures that you've been sending in of your book. And yeah, thank you, Natalie, for your amazing illustrations. And anyone who wants some gorgeous paintings, please go to vanillarygarden.com. She's a goddess and absolutely amazing. So thanks so much for joining me here. And next week, what we're going to be diving into is really, you might be feeling it already, the rubble. Some of you, Sabrina, expressed this, just the rubble that's coming up in the challenge. And it's a good sign. It means that there's really an opening happening. And typically what has been kept down and locked down and kind of repressed is coming up in order to be cleared, to be freed, and to be transformed, so that it's easier and easier to embody that high level, that true state of presence, or whatever word you choose, love, clarity, confidence. So I close here with a reminder that confidence, con fidel, is loyalty to yourself. So whether it's setting an intention or, going out and doing something you love for yourself, being good to yourself is a tremendous form of service to others, because your well-being is a gift. You are a gift. And the more loving you are to yourself, the more you set an example for all of us to see what's possible. So if you have any more questions about this, feel free to, I'll check in on the comments soon, and I'll write back on the actual comments. But again, feel free to go to my website, Veronica Krestow, KRESTOW.com. If you want to take it further, there's a program where I guide you similarly to the book, but a bit different, in the store there. And it's 7-week, really immersed, powerful program that holds space for you. And there is a special for a few more days till the end of March. Okay? I love you. I thank you. And I celebrate you. And I look forward to next week, awareness, using everyday triggers to awaken the treasure within. All my love. Mwah. Let's see if I can close it this time, you guys. Okay, there's a stop broadcast button, which is great. All right, I love you. Mwah. Have a beautiful week.